Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to the first episode of podcast on NLP. I'm Manahil Hafiz, an NLP and timeline therapy trainer and a master coach. And today we have with us the very amazing Mr. June, who is also a certified NLP trainer and also a trainer in hypnotherapy as well as a master coach. He's from Philippines and he has been doing amazing for many years. And we met in October 2022 when I was doing my trainer's training in Sydney with, of course, the great Dr. Adriana James. And that was our first, of course, meeting where we were able to learn a lot and were able to share a lot of wonderful insights. And of course, he was one of my supervisors there. So it is an honor to have you here, June. How are you? How is everything at your end?
First of all, let me honor you, Manahil. It's been 2 years since we last met each other, and time just flies so fast, right? I've seen your growth in social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, and it's just so amazing how 2 years has transformed your life. And I'm doing great. I'm
Yeah.
doing great here in the Philippines as well. It's been 4 years since I discovered NLP, and a lot has changed since then.
That is of course something that I can agree with, because I think once you onboard this beautiful NLP journey, I think there is no going back. It's just progress. And if you put some hard work here, there is no doubt that you are going to reach the heights and sky's the limit then. So it's always good to see the fellow colleagues doing amazing in the field, and then it also gives us the kind of the energy and the motivation to keep going and following the footsteps of the inspirational people in the field. Right, so June, today we would be talking about the myths that NLP has been dealing with for the 5 decades now. And it's amazing to even encounter such things which are, of course, uh, I think there are no scientific basis at times, or people say that it is pseudoscience, or there are a lot of interesting things that people come up with. So our intention of definitely today's podcast is to just clear all those misconceptions so that people can have a clear image on what actually NLP is and how it can transform you, how it can benefit you if you are basically some of the people who are really wanna look for transformation in their lives, right? All right. So moving forward, let's dive very deep into the fact, and let's debunk the myths, and let's uncover the truth, right? So the first thing that we really hear a lot is NLP is just manipulation. So what is your take on that, June? How would you answer that question if that comes to you?
That's the usual myth that we always hear, that NLP is manipulation. Basically, NLP is communication. We just learn how to communicate effectively with other people. And everything that we learn here is not only towards communication, but other parts, therapy, coaching. So it's all in different areas. The sad part here is that the early individuals who learned NLP before were using NLP for that purpose. I mean, it would always go back to what is your intention for using NLP, right? You can use NLP for
Right.
yeah, manipulation if you want to, because again, it's communication, how to be an effective communicator. You just learn how to be a better speaker. You just learn how to become a better presenter, right? And even though you don't learn NLP, you still learn all those tools. So I mean, going back to manipulation, it always would go back to your intention. That's what
Right.
I
I
ask
would
people.
completely agree.
What is your intention for learning NLP? Right? Because if your intention is to manipulate, whether it's NLP or not, you will just be manipulating other people. But if you're
True. I
learning
agree with
NLP
that.
to
I
transform
truly
your
agree.
life, I feel that if you're learning NLP to transform your life, then where's the manipulation there?
True. I think this example is, I love this metaphor, when answering this particular question. It's like, it's not with the electricity, right? Electricity can be great, like if you are, turning on lights, using it for, particular devices that are like really needed, like heaters, ACs,
Mm.
anything like that. And then, of course, it can be used, you can get an electric shock and die as well. So, particularly, it is also into how you are using anything rather than what the thing is actually at the end of the day. So I truly believe that NLP is powerful enough, but your intention at the back of your mind matters. If you want to misuse it, nobody can stop you. But
Agree.
of course, I agree with you, it's your intention at the end of the day. If you want to manipulate, yes, NLP can help you in manipulation, but then again, it depends on your intention of doing that. Lovely. So of course there are many cases, June, in of course many countries where people are actually you doing businesses of basically you know just stealing organs, right? And just selling them in many countries. See, so of course there are surgeons who are doing that. So is surgery a bad subject? No, it isn't. See, so the particular intention of that surgeon is not okay. So we will not say that surgery is in fact a bad thing. Technically, the intention of the surgeon is bad, that he's trying to basically do the wrong things with his skill and his knowledge, right? So that is amazing. I loved your answer. Now also when people come to me mostly, they say to me that NLP is, oh, so you're talking about therapy, oh, it's something related to psychology, right? And NLP, oh, you mean anything, okay, so it's like the healing, right? So all of that psychology thing. So how would you look at it? How would you look at this perspective, June, after working in different countries now and meeting people around the world? How would you look at this particular statement coming up from so many people?
Ah, very good. Uh, that's one thing. And coaching therapy is just only one part of NLP, everyone. And the deeper level of NLP is how you can transform your life for the better. Right? If you're a college student, wouldn't you want to transform your life for the better at your age? Or you're a housewife? Wouldn't you want to have those kind of skills? What's amazing with NLP is these are mental tools to help us when we feel down, mental tools to help us to change our behavior, mental tools to help us to become efficient in our selling. So it all depends on how you plan to use NLP. If you plan to use NLP for therapy and coaching, this will work. If you plan to use your if you plan to use NLP for, let's say, being a good mother. I have one student before from the US. Her intention for enrolling was to change her mindset because she grew up here in the Philippines, and most of her children grew up in the US. So there was a big disconnect. So when she reached out, she told me that I can't expect my children to change. I need to be the one to change. But the challenge there, I don't know how to change. That's where NLP in. Because of NLP, because she learned how to reframe herself, she learned how to change her negative behaviors that were from the Philippines. She was able to change it so that she could communicate with her daughters, with her children. And who wouldn't want that, right? That's
Right,
one
right.
thing.
That's a wonderful aspect of it, and that's very true. At one time we had a student in our training, and we asked him that, why are you here in NLP? And he said, I just want to work with my anxiety challenges, right? So people have a lot of ways, and now there are people who are entrepreneurs and they come in NLP because they say, oh, we are unable to manage our teams, or we are unable to communicate our stance to the higher authorities in the organization. So we want to we want to get a promotion, we want to enhance our sales, we want to make more in business, make more money, make more you can say empowerment in the sense of hiring people. So NLP is diverse. Yes, it will help a therapist in his therapy because it will give you tons of techniques to empower your client. But at the end of the day, it's not only related to psychologists, right? So I have there were like 100 trainers, right, when we were having that training in October. And I think hardly there were people from the psychology background. We had such a diversity, people coming from all the different backgrounds, all the different age groups. Even we had people 60 plus, we had people 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus. So that is the beautiful diversity that, NLP blesses us with. And I think this is one of the amazing things, that it doesn't define only therapy, but business, education, um, performance,
Yeah.
enhancement, and all of such things. Lovely. Now, there are also people who say that NLP is a pseudoscience. Oh, that comes a lot to me. That comes a lot to me. You know, oh, it's a pseudoscience. And the first call I take usually, and like, is it? Isn't it a pseudoscience, Manahil? And that is something that I go through every single day or every other day. I can promise you that. So, how do you see it? And I always answer it like, and of course, I would love to know your perspective also. But I would always say that for something to be a pseudo, which means false, pseudoscience, it has to be fully a science first. But NLP is an art, right? It's an art of modeling. It's an art of, just being curious. It's an attitude of, you know just learning what's going on behind what's going on, right? So it's an attitude of curiosity, it's a set of techniques, it's technology, it's, a different, you can say, set of beautiful things, technology, art, and so much more. It's not only confined to science. Yes, I do believe we have modeled a lot of psychologists in the field, and they come with, of course, behavior psychologists, like, we do anchoring, and that has a whole background coming from Ian Pavlov, and we have scientific aspects. But in the longer run, NLP is an art of modeling, how we are modeling and how we are creating new things out of the things
Yeah.
that were already successful. So that is how I look at, this term pseudoscience, and negate it for my clients, for people who are, asking this question from me. How do you look at it? How would you say that it's not a pseudoscience?
Basically, how you presented it was also how I would also present it, Manahil.
Right.
Because basically, the only original part of NLP is modeling, right? That's modeling is just the unique part of NLP. But everything aside from modeling are all from different areas of psychology. Just like what I shared, behavioral psychology, family therapy, Virginia Satir, hypnotherapy, Erickson,
Milton,
right?
yeah.
So all of those are from different areas of psychology. So how could people say that it's pseudoscience when it's all from different areas of sciences, right? That's also one thing that I've also proven. And most probably those people who used NLP before didn't really learn how to use NLP the right way. Didn't really understand, because if you understand it, if you know the mechanism of how it works, you will see results. You could see the change. You could see how they get to get that breakthrough in their life, right? So I mean that we're getting results. You and me, I'm from the Philippines, you're from Pakistan, we're both getting results. So what's the difference here? I mean,
Right.
compared to other people, why are we getting results and they're not getting results, right? I mean, for this to be pseudoscience, we shouldn't be getting results right now in our respective fields, but we are getting
Exactly.
solid results. So for me, we're just, oh, this part works. I'll use it. Why, instead of studying 4 years, why would you study 4 years of your life when you can just get the best parts? Right? I think
Exactly.
this will work in my life, then I'll study this. This one would work, then I'll do this. So it speeds up the process.
Right. And of course, coming, and understanding, people say that, I did come across, one of these arguments in the last week also, that, there are multiple researches that say that NLP doesn't work. And, there are multiple researches that, people are saying that NLP is something that's really outdated now. It doesn't perform results. And how I was able to, make sense out of it was, see, even, because I am a clinical psychologist, and I have this entire academics in respect to psychology and clinical psychology as my majors. So I do understand that when we started to study how psychology came into being, so there was a principle, there was people who were following psychoanalysis. They would create researches and say that, oh, psychoanalysis doesn't work. Then, behavior psychologists, they came up, they went against other people. Then, so every single time, different disciplines do argue with each other.
Mhm.
And I do believe that in terms of research, a lot of the researchers are really biased, because we are trying to get the results we want.
Agree.
There can be a chance, right? Because being in the research field, also being a student in the field, we do come across this a lot, that some researchers are biased at the end of the day. And even if they are not, it's also in how the NLP was done with the set of people you are interviewing,
Yes.
right? Because I do not believe that every single person is putting the same amount of effort in the field and are, you can say, sufficiently trained also. So this factor would always, I think, remain very unanswered, that which people were taken, what was the authenticity of the trainers that trained them, or the coaches that dealt with them, right? So for me, I think that would remain an ambiguous channel. But however, I think that if something is going on for 5 years and is still going on, it means it is doing something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have been negated, because in the start, there were certain things done in psychology, when people were trying to come out with healings. They used to make holes in the skulls. They used to do different techniques, right? There were very different things that were going on. So there were a lot of things that were very unethical now if we think of them. So things come, and if they don't work, they just go obsolete. Very, very surely they go obsolete, because they see it 5 years, 10 years, it's not producing results, it's gone, it becomes a part of the history then. But if something is going on for like now 55 years almost, I think then it is doing something, otherwise it would have gone obsolete. So when people say that researchers say this, I would never know who did the research. I'd never know what kind of people they picked up, what kind of clients they picked up, who they picked up, were they even trained from proper boards, were they even treated properly through the NLP techniques or not, right? So I think this element for me would always remain a question mark. I don't know, I have no idea. What I can rely on, as you said, is results.
Yeah.
If this particular thing, because I started it with NLP in 2021, and it's now 2024 ending, and I have just seen results, and that's why I'm here. Otherwise, if I didn't see results after practitioner, I would have never enrolled in masters. And if I never got results after masters, I would never have become a trainer of first NLP, then again go for timeline therapy. So I think something that is holding us strong for the past 3 4 years is seeing results, right? So I think we can rely on only one thing: results. Because there would be always a sense of argument between two disciplines, and we really don't need to argue. If that works for you, go with it, right? What's the chance of just arguing that this doesn't work or that doesn't? I feel like that, like, this is my sense of opinion. If NLP doesn't seem the right thing for you, then it's okay, you can go for a cognitive approach. This is always a sense of, you know different school of thought, the idea of having a different school of thought. So I would definitely go with, okay, what produces results for you, go for it. That's perfectly fine. So also, June, there is one more thing that people come up with. NLP guarantees instant transformation. How would you look, at this perspective of people?
Oh, very good. Instant transformation is not instant transformation that happens overnight, everyone. The number one for you to transform is the willingness to transform. We recently did a clinical study with patients with depression, and we applied NLP, timeline therapy, and hypnotherapy. And in 4 weeks' time, we were able to lower all the markers, their depression, their anxiety, self-talk, negative self-talk, all those in 4 weeks' time. So what was the difference? Why did it work? Because number one, during the first session, I asked them if they were already ready to change. They were already ready for change, right? Because that's the first step. Because this is a do with process, not a do to process. We do the change together. Because there's a tendency people would go to therapists, to counselors, and pay them. and expect that the counselors will do the magic, right? It's like, Manal, I'll pay you. Please help me get rid of my depression. But that doesn't work. You need to want to change. You need to put in the effort of changing. But the magic here, since you're open to change, instead of you changing for 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, it just speeds up the process. You get the change around 4 weeks, 2 to 3 months, right? In all those processes. So I feel that it's not instant change, but there is a faster way of changing. There is a faster way of changing because it would always depend, Manahil, also with everyone here, on how tightly are they holding on to the grip of their problem, right? Because if the problem is too tight, it would really
Yeah.
take a while for them to loosen up. But once they loosen up already on their grip,
Receptivity.
yeah, they would be open to
Hmm.
doing
Hmm.
timeline therapy. They would be open to hypnotherapy because for me, NLP, and this is what's amazing. I don't know if you remember Coach B. Coach B shared this to me. Coach B said that timeline therapy will help us let go of our past and also create a future. Then NLP will give us the tools to help us go after that future.
Very nice.
Then
Very nice.
hypnotherapy will be the glue. Hypnotherapy will be the glue on how we can effectively hit the future.
Very nice.
So
Very nice. Yeah.
NLP are just, yeah, all tools going to
Right. I totally agree with it because it's all about improving the quality of life, but it is going to be an effort-based process. I always tell my clients, you are coming to me with the baggage of 25 years,
yes.
30 years, 40 years. At time my clients have been 50, 55. And I say that if you expect to, the 55 years thing to just go in 55 days, there is a lot we need to work on. But yes, it can be as quick as you want it to be. It's just your willingness to be ready to let go of it.
Yeah.
Right. And if that's true, then it doesn't matter. Even a 20-year-old would might take 3, 4 months, and a 50-year-old might take 1 month, I would say. So it is always going to depend on their willingness to change, but always knowing that they are coming with a full fledged gestalt, right? And to work with them to make things go away, it's a time taking process for them also, not for us. Basically, I have seen people. I worked with a cancer survivor, June, and that particular person, she let go of everything in 5 sessions, right? And then I worked with a lady who had a weight loss challenge, and she took more time, like 3, 4 months, with whatever she was going. So even when we look at things as minor, major, that's also a very false concept, because people would always differ in their receptivity of the interventions, how they receive them for themselves as a choice, and then how they would want to let go of everything by their sense of willingness to change always. So I would completely agree with that. I have been in the field of psychology, and comparatively you can say clinical psychology, where it is more about therapy, and other fields of psychology are not more of therapy, like sports psychology, education. They are not more of therapy, but clinical is more about therapy. It's about pathology. It's about dealing with, of course, the error that's going on in a day-to-day functioning, right? So there is this particular statement that psychologists come up with, that NLP is incompatible with psychology. They cannot coexist. What would you say? What would you say about it? How do you take it?
I How can it not coexist with psychology? I mean, for example, let's say
Yeah.
you have a patient. You're in a clinical psychologist. You have a depressed patient with mental health. Number one, you can use metaphors, stories to loosen the grip of the problem. Then you can do meta models to just keep on asking the questions, going deep dive. Those are already NLP techniques, right? Rapport. The first time that your client will sit down, when you mirror and match, when you build so much rapport with your client will open up. Compared to having a psychologist that doesn't have rapport, right? If you're the client, will you share your problems? I guess not, right? But if you have rapport, Your client will just, Manahil, this is my problem. My father did this to me. So you already know where to start. So all of those are all NLP, and these are all just basics. Basic tools and techniques that we learn. What more when you learn about prime concern, right? What more when you learn about values? You know their values, the reason why they're doing this. And I feel that NLP is just so fast. When you add in timeline therapy and hypnotherapy,
Right. See, coming from again, the background, the similar background, and being a psychology student, I think something that has taken me from here to here in my career is NLP, because I felt like, this might vary culture to culture, because academics vary city to city and country to country at times. Majorly, they vary country to country. I felt like that there was a need of more techniques. There was some, you can say, desire that I would have like a good toolkit when I'm sitting with my client. And I need to have a diversity. I would want to go a little above than CBT or psychotherapy, or, other, there are humanistic approaches, existential approaches, but I would want something quicker, something at times I would want to have like, I would not want to apply the same two to three techniques to every single client that's coming. I would want more diversity. So I think NLP, for me as a practitioner, was a bonus. It was like, if I was working at a level of 1x, it made me 10x, I
yeah,
would say, because I became more equipped with dealing with every sort of, clients. And then it helped me to understand people more. I think uh, certain loopholes I felt that, maybe there are so many contradicting theories in psychology again. So I felt like, oh, which one to follow or which one to go through. But NLP added more evidence for me, to understand what was the right way or how to connect the dots, integrating psychology with NLP to understand that there is a very thin line between a normal functioning person and pathology, that are real disorders. Real disorders cannot be treated without medicine. And that is not your domain, even as a psychologist or a clinical psychologist. That is a whole chapter to be taken, over by a psychiatrist. So, anyways, we are not going to dive into medicine. So, differentiating and not putting the clinical tests to every single person coming, to you, and you start like, okay, let's start BDI, depression inventories, let's do. I would always, now this is my ways and methods improve, because I would simply look at the person, and if I think if they're receptive enough, they can follow my instructions, they're doing great, I would simply just keep doing NLP with them. And in my entire career, I have just came across two clients that had pathology issues, right? The disorder. People I had to refer, two people only. All other were receptive enough. They produced a transformation without any use of medication. And I recently read a research of World Health Organization which stated that only 1 out of 8 people would have a disorder. So the seven ratio is all normal functioning people. Why to label them with a disorder? Because Ted James was very much against labeling. He said it's like putting somebody into a box. So I would go every single dimension to make sure I'm not putting a diagnosis to a person. I would make sure. Even people come to me and say, Manahil, I have OCD. Would you be able to treat me? And I said, who said you have it? So she said, oh, I read on Dr. Google. And I said, please don't rely on that, right? So I would just quickly take them to all the things and they create the change. Why to put them under medication or a diagnosis? Yeah, two cases have been, they were not receptive to my instructions. We cannot take NLP forward then. Then it gave me like a red signal that I now need to take a psychiatrist on board with me. And I did. See, so we know our ethical boundaries.
yeah,
And when people say that, there is like a difference between psychology and NLP, and I say, no, they both go hand in hand. Because if it's a normal functioning person, why would you want to give them a diagnosis? It's not like a gift package you give to everyone,
exactly.
right? It's really serious putting a label to someone's entire life, right? So that's again something that people come up with, June, is um, why some psychologists remain skeptical of NLP at the end of the day. What do you think? Why that happens.
Well, number one, it depends on where they trained, right? For me, it's very important where they trained NLP, or even if they did attempt to try out NLP, they must have just read NLP and then just base it on their on what they've read. Not they didn't even try it out, because if they tried it out, they realized that it's really very beneficial in their practice. Because for me, if you're in the help industry, if you help people, you need to have more tools, just like what you shared earlier. Not everyone fits the bill, right? So you need to, oh, NLP can work here, CBT can work here. So you need to have all those tools. Don't rely on one tool alone, because we are in the help industry. We are giving them a disservice if that's the kind of mindset that we have, right? I
True.
feel that we need to strive always to equip us with different tools. That's also what I tell my students. I tell my students, don't limit yourself. If you feel that you need to learn more other modalities, then go for it.
Go for it.
Because yeah,
Exactly,
go for it.
exactly. Learning should never stop. Even we, as because I am currently discovering an hypnotherapy, right? And I am like diving deep into it. I'm trying to understand, and when I feel like I have got some perfection in it, I would you know definitely go for practicing it, training it, right? So we do take time to understand things, to comprehend them, and then finally take a decision to become an ambassador of a particular, you can say, intervention, because we have to go forward and deal with people every single day. If we are going without an evidence of good practice, an evidence of good, you can say, authority that is backing us, you know we would be completely lost in like second or third case. I
Yeah.
think you can never develop a career unless you have completely, you can say, taken into account every aspect of it. You would be found, you would be found just, you can say, struggling in just even making a career of that particular thing. So when you say that, I don't know from where they have done it, so this has been something really interesting. So people would just go to an online website, do some NLP course, and start practicing it. You don't have a proper trainer, a proper body, a board. You are not getting back to back practice. No one is supervising you. You just see two to three techniques in like Google, or maybe you go to like some workshop, a 2 3 day workshop. Yeah, it's one of the things. So it's not about NLP, it's how you teach it. Because if there is a child and I teach them that A is written inverted, they would go and say A is inverted, because that's how I taught them, in the first place. So for you, A is how I taught you. At the end of the first experience of you understanding what it is, right? So when you have this particular experience from somebody who is not licensed, unexperienced, and having a lack of knowledge on the subject, your concept of NLP becomes very ambiguous, because the source you saw was ambiguous to learn from, basically. So I feel like there is always going to be, for example, Oxford University is one of the amazingly performing universities in the world. You just go to a local university and you study a discipline there, and in contrast you are studying that particular discipline in Oxford. Do you think there is going to be a difference? Of course,
Yes.
huge. That is the same thing with NLP. You have a 2 3 day workshop from, and not even a proper certified trainer, and then you come up and say NLP is ambiguous, vague, pseudo. Good for you, because you never discovered how actual NLP was. So I think when people come up with certain disciplines, I say, how would you say the chocolate cake is really bad unless you have tasted it in the true means? So unless you have gone through the real aspect of NLP, you have done the interventions. And I say to people, please, before calling it pseudo, learn NLP and take 30 to 40 clients. Come with me, come with me, tell me the stats. I took 40 clients, I am certified from a proper trainer, I am applying this, it's not working. I then sit with you and have a good argument. Before that, I do not consider you, in that way, that I am able to, at least what should I discuss with you, right? So I say, at least learn it, practice it, and then say, I took 40 clients, it didn't work. Then don't do it. Opt for something else. But before being in the field, I think any statement that you come up with would not make justice to your sense of credibility at that point, right? So June, anything else, like, because there is a culture to culture difference as well. Let me tell you that there were people, we do follow religion in all means, but there were people in our society that they also claimed that NLP is something which is anti-religion, that is something which is against the religion, because it is trying to enforce certain concepts which are against religion, which actually they aren't, and I do prove to people that they are not. So there are culture to culture variations in the myths also. So what is particularly your experience of debating about NLP in your particular culture? What do you go through in Philippines? How is, like,
Very good.
NLP?
Good insight, Manahil. When it comes to religion, I'm a Christian. I'm a Catholic.
Okay.
Specifically, I'm a Catholic, and I love the Lord. And I love the Lord. And learning NLP made me love the Lord deeper, right? Because before NLP, I was in level 4, values level 4. So I
Okay.
was just purely, I'm a Catholic, I'm a Christian, everyone is not important. I'm a Catholic, I'm a Christian, right? But when I learned NLP, I learned how to respect everyone, everyone's culture, everyone's faith. And then moving forward, doing this for almost 4 years already, I transitioned to values level 5. So more on business, but still, it made me realize that how can the Lord not love us? And how can the Lord not exist? Right? How can Allah not exist? Because if Allah does not love us, or the Lord or Yahweh does not love us, or Jesus does not love us, they will not give us NLP. They will not give us
Yeah,
timeline therapy. They will not give us means to free ourselves from our mind, wherein you can freely choose to love them wholeheartedly. Not because you fear them, not because you're afraid, not because of your guilt that you will go to hell, but because you truly love them because they freed us from our sins. Right?
our
Imagine,
pain.
as a Catholic,
Yeah.
as a Christian, guilt has always been one of our greatest negative emotions. Right? You do
True.
this, you go to hell. You're not
Agree.
you can't be rich because money is the root of all evil. You're going to hell, right? So imagine I was
Yeah.
the one sabotaging myself. I didn't understand that. I didn't realize that I was the one putting myself down because of my beliefs. And then I learned NLP, and then that's when I realized that if the Lord really loves us, will the Lord permit us to suffer? Right? The Lord would want us to be free. We're just being trapped by that mentality. And when I was able to break free from that, I appreciated the Lord better. It's I don't want to be the Lord. No, it's there must be someone higher looking over me, right? Because when I was praying, I always pray to the Lord to use me to create change. And the
That's
Lord
powerful.
led me to NLP and all those modalities. That's why at the end of
True.
the day, Manahil, it will always go back to my faith that I'm
Of
doing
course.
this just to bring honor to the Lord.
That's very true. And when people do, and people have certain claims, right, regarding being against the concept of NLP. And you shared such beautiful things, and I completely agree with that. Because when I'm praying and I'm practicing gratitude, as one of my learnings in timeline therapy, I practice gratitude. And the first thing, mostly I thank my Allah for is blessing me with NLP, because I remember the days where I used to pray for a ray of hope, for a direction, for a goal. And I feel like NLP was an answer to my prayer. I always tell to my students, and if they're watching this podcast, they would definitely agree with me that I would always thank the Lord, my Allah, for blessing me with this, because I know the amount of change I have been able to create in people. There have been so many clients who came to me and they said, Manahil, when they are making their learning is, oh, if I pray, I would, everything would make sense. Now, these are their learnings in timeline. Oh my God, it's really powerful. So many people have gone back to prayers, have gone back to being more resilient with their sense of practicing religion. So, for not only for me, for my clients also, because I do practice mostly and largely in Muslim religion, I have the community, and they have been, more. Profound in their sense of faith, because they realized that, faith was back in their unconscious. They connected with that, oh, we were missing out on faith when they were in guilt or hurt or everything. And for me, I think, we make so many excuses that, oh, I'm not able to pray, I work 20 hours a day, right? But now, being at cause, I know prayer is something I cannot miss. So NLP's very first intervention has, led me more closer to practicing my religion more in every single way. So I think at the end of the day, it's about what you do out of it, the way we started it, how your intention is in, utilizing the aspects. If this NLP is allowing me to be closer to my religion and my clients to be closer to their Lord Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so it means at the end of the day, my belief in it becomes very strong. So I think
Uh,
I would completely agree with you in this.
Before I forget, Manel, let me share a story.
Sure, please.
There was this captain. There's a boat captain. This boat captain is very prayerful, and he loves the Lord. He loves the Lord. And then one day he decided to go out sailing. And then in the middle of the sea came a very terrible storm. So what happened? What happens next? The boat capsized. So he was praying, Lord, save me, Lord. I believe you will send a miracle. Then out of the blue, there was a boat who went by him. The captain was shouting, "Come here! I'll be here to save you." And then what happened? The captain said that, "No, no, I will not, I will not go inside because the Lord will save me. The Lord will send out a miracle from heaven. The heavens will open." And then, yeah, eventually the boat left. Then next, after a couple of hours, there's a helicopter that went and saved him. They were shouting, come up, we're here to save you." And still, the reply is, "No, no, I'm waiting for a miracle from the Lord." So eventually, what happened? The captain died, right? Passed away. So when he was in front of the Lord, he was asking the Lord, "Lord, why did you not save me?" And this was the Lord's reply: "How can you say that I did not save you? I was the one who brought you the boat, and you were not even contented. I brought you the helicopter." Right? Sometimes we pray and we expect miracles in our life. And what if NLP is already the answer to your prayers? What if timeline therapy is already the answer to your prayers, right? Because you're just so narrow minded that you cannot see the sides, that these are all the answer to your prayers. Because NLP will be here to, okay, learn this, Manahil, so that you can help yourself, right? Instead of you feeling sorry for yourself, help yourself so that you can worship me better. So that's what I tell my students and people that I talk to about how to break
Amazing.
NLP.
Amazing. This actually made sense for me. I was able to connect to it way more, I think, because exactly, I was always finding a direction. I was praying for a direction, but of course that had to come through some effort. At times, people think that, some miracle has to happen. We'll just sit on our bed for it. So you don't have to. You have to strive for it. You pick up, you get the opportunity, but you would be the one who is going to make the decision, take the pain of, taking that decision, and, of course, being consistent with it. Only then, you can be able to, reap results out of it. The world has this effort based phenomena. You
Yeah,
get what you strive for. That is, one of the sayings in our holy book Quran, that there is nothing for man except what he strives for. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has also, given the answer to it. I will give you opportunity, but if you don't strive for it, you don't get it, right? So I
I
think
agree.
that answers everything. Thank you so much, June. It was so good to talk to you, and I was uh, completely relating to everything, every single thing that you said, and it did open new doors for me. Also, being able to get more references and how to assist people to understand the myths are just myths, and there
Right.
is a whole beautiful reality to what they are missing on in life. And I think I would be able to add more value to lives of people. And thank you so much. And till the next episode, see you. And inshallah, we would be coming up with something more amazing in the next episode. Thank you, everyone, for who is watching, and stay tuned for beautiful, amazing insights on NLP coming very soon your way. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.